Hello, this is Shankar Meembat from the Alternative Board at Milton Keynes. Today, I'd just like to talk a little bit about using some of the tools that you might be familiar with differently. And that's about the value chain analysis. It's designed by Michael Porter, and it talked about how a company could improve its own position in the market, how it could make itself more competitive. And the basic principle of a value chain analysis is to look through all the steps the company goes through on getting its product to the market, product or service. Goes from how the product is created, designed, delivered, uh, marketed, what channels to be used, and so on and so forth. And the essential principle of a value chain analysis in improving a company's competitiveness is to be able to understand in each of those steps how the company could do better. And the principle has been always that there are two ways of doing it. One is cost differentiation, the other is, one is a cost strategy, and the other is a differentiation strategy. So let's take as an example getting a product, a widget that has been manufactured and getting out to a customer. One of the elements of that is obviously the delivery, the physical delivery of the widget to the customer premises. And there are two ways a company could make itself competitive on that element. One, it could go and try for the cheapest, which is a cost strategy. Reduce the cost so that it gets a different, makes itself competitive against others in the industry. The other option is to go to differentiate that delivery phase, for example, by making it a one-day delivery, the shortest time delivery, or always adding some fancy things to the delivery. So essentially, there are two elements there: the cost differentiation, the cost reduction and cost strategy, and the differentiation strategy for each of those value, each of those blocks in the chain. Now, it's a powerful tool, but today I want to talk about how you could use the tool for something else. Instead of doing a value chain analysis on yourself, try and do a value chain analysis on your competitor. Oh, sorry, on your potential